And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for supporting the local economy by supporting the Consumer Quarterback Show and all of our expert contributors. We really appreciate that. Everybody that reaches out to the show hotline, it just really makes our day. And by the way, I'm the one that answers the phone. So if you call us, 813-917-1894, call or text buying, selling, investing, refinancing, 813-917-1894. Of course, any of our other expert contributors, we cover about 80 different categories. So you're talking about real estate credit, finance, estate planning, technology, tax planning, so many different areas. All the great home service providers that that you would think when you think about blue collar companies, contractors, inspectors, plumbing, electrical, all those different areas, technology, self-defense, and more. Doctors on the show. So we help you win in a lot of different areas, and we can be that super connector for you. So all things, related to your business, your life, your real estate, all those different, areas, we'd love to talk to you. 813-917-1894, and we'll help you win. We'll make you more street smart. 813-917-1894. A lot going on in the insurance space right now. A lot of questions around insurance, public adjusting, recovering from the floods, hurricane disaster relief, all the different areas. We're going to help you win. And our goal as a listing agent for you, if you decide to list your property with us, is to get you the most amount of exposure. Our highest duty is to get the sellers maximum exposure, which leads to maximum profit in a shorter marketing period. That's the key. Maximizing the exposure. We got Ken Monro in the house. He is a tech expert. The Ease Association is his company. We're going to have him coming in here in just a moment. We have Bryan Stern, also special guest. He's actually in the green room doing an interview with OAN, One America News right now, and he's coming in to do our show next. We got Joe Magro as well, making his debut to the Consumer Quarterback Show. Magro, he's Tarpon Solar. Tarpon Solar, we're going to talk with him here as well, and all the great benefits that solar can provide for your home or business. So we're going to talk about that as well on the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We have our monthly gratitude party coming up, and I'm going to let producer Dave tell you a little bit about it.
Outstanding. Yeah, so at third Thursday of the month, this time is going to be on this side of the water of Pinellas County over at the Tarpon Turtle. We're at 1513 Lake Tarpon Avenue. So it's right there on the water. They're going to have fantastic views. Ambiance is fantastic. Of course, all the food. The chef, who's the chef's name again?
Well, we got the chef over at Tarpon Turtle. We're taling about George. George is the owner.
That's right.
Great guy. George K. is the owner, and he does a great job hosting events, and him and his wife are awesome people.
And all the appetizers are covered by MVP.
Yep, that's right. Platinum MVP team. We got the appetizers covered, and we're looking for a drink sponsor for that. So if somebody wants to be our drink sponsor, but coming up on the 20th, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, going to have magician and entertainer Corey Van Valen.
Yep.
He's going to be fresh off a show up in Newport Richie as well. So he's a hysterical guy. It's going to be a good time.
Corey 2V.
Yes, and of course, I believe you're also going to have a pontoon boat out there. So we take maybe be 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. So it should be right about that sunset time. Should be pretty good.
Yeah, we'll do it. Hey, we're going to have a little cruise there. Maybe call it a booze cruise if you want.
Absolutely. Come on down.
Hey, it's a free event, too.
Absolutely.
It's a free event. Come on out, network with us, meet with us. Thursday, March 20th, 6 o'clock. Thursday, 6 o'clock. We hope to see you there. All right, a couple of hot listings here from our real estate team. We like to feature our properties on air, and that helps our sellers sell faster for more money. Maximum exposure. We got a beautiful listing here at 221 Howard Drive. One of our most expensive listings here. It's over $3 million, multi-million-dollar listing. 221 Howard Drive, beautiful Bel Air Beach, Florida. 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 3,500 square foot, single-family home. Gorgeous 3-island kitchen with Thermador appliances, saltwater pool, 100 feet of water frontage on deep water access, and you also have access to the beach just 1 block away. Bring your boat, bring your jet skis, live that Florida lifestyle to the fullest, and you might even cruise your boat around out into the Gulf of America now, right? The Gulf of America. So let's do that. Let's have some fun on the boat. All right, here we go. Commercial property, 10129 Little Road. This is a great opportunity. We do sell commercial listings as well, and this one is a commercial property up in Newport Richey, 10129 Little Road, 2,337 square feet, over an acre of land, commercial property. Shout out to Dr. Paul and Vicky, chiropractic office, currently operating that way. You have 2 curb cutouts, circular driveway for seamless ingress and egress. You have ADA compliance there as well. Newer roof, great opportunity. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, Ken Monro, back in studio. Welcome back, sir.
How you doing? Great to
Oh,
see you
man,
again.
just blessed and highly favored, brother. Things are good. You know, it's kind of funny this week we found out. So July, we've known we have a baby coming. The early pregnancy test that my wife did, or blood test, showed a baby girl. And then she goes to the doctor, and he says, that test was wrong. You're actually having a boy. So I'm blessed, man. I tell you what.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
That's
thank
great
you much.
news.
Yeah.
When due when?
In July.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, it's just around the corner.
Yeah,
so got to
yeah.
get as much sleep as I
How
can
many?
now.
How many?
That'll be 3.
Yeah.
That'll be number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's all just kind of incremental at that point, right?
Yeah.
One's a major transition. 2 is,
Yeah.
3, it's like, we've been here.
Well, my oldest is out of the house now, so the one that you hear on the radio show that says my daddy's real estate company support my daddy's show, she's in college now, so it's
Wow.
funny how time flies,
Fast.
isn't it?
Yep.
It really is.
Yep.
And speaking of time, you're helping business owners recapture time in a sense, right? You're able to create technologies, implement technologies into people's businesses that's going to save them time and money.
Yeah. So, I mean, our mission as an association, and we are an association, we're not like a marketing agency, or we're an association that members join, and they get access to a membership community of like-minded professionals and so on. But, that's our mission is to help them be more powerful, efficient, and profitable, right? In support of their clients, because that's... If you're not delivering that later part of that statement, then all the rest of it just kind of goes away.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. That's your driver. You always got to focus on, it's no matter what business you're in the people business,
Yep.
right? So first off, and then, as you said, driving sales for real estate companies or driving business is the most important thing. What's some of the lowest hanging fruit? So, a lot of businesses out there are struggling, with some of the basics, answering the phones, things like that. What would you say is kind of the lowest hanging fruit that you find in maybe a real estate, a mortgage business?
It is the initial customer engagement, or even lead or prospect engagement. I won't even say customer, right? So, oftentimes we end up talking to a lot of people who aren't, are the perfect avatar of who we should be talking. But you got to talk to them to find out, which ones are, right? And so that whole pre-qualification process, is if we look 2 years ago, it almost seems Jurassic at this point, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so seamless now with AI, and people hear AI, and a lot of times they think, I don't want to talk to a robot and all this kind of stuff, and the idea of being disconnected from a customer because of AI is actually the inverse. Right.
Explain that for me.
Well, so, I just mentioned like the idea of prospects, right? I could spend my whole day talking to people for the first time to find out if we should, as a company, can even serve them. Should we be talking to them, right? What's that costing me? There's time, there's money, okay, but it's costing me time I could be with the person who is my perfect customer, that I do want to spend time with and develop a relationship with, right? So that opportunity cost that we're spending, that we could defer to systems and process to better delineate, this is the person we should be talking with. Let's elevate them in how we're engaged, but getting to them is part of the struggle, right?
Right.
So, through systems, we can actually become closer with our clients as opposed to more disjointed. And I think the perception, it's changing. And the reason it's changing is because people are using it, and they're realizing it firsthand as opposed to an idea that they think about of, hi, press 1 when, it's not like that anymore. Right?
Yeah, it's so integrative. Like the technologies have come such a long way. I think that preconceived notion that some people have is a thing of the past, because it is a smart learning technology, and it learns languages. It learns different dialects.
Yeah.
I mean, it's impressive.
In the past, we used to have to identify in very clear parameters, if the person says this, then say exactly that. And that's not how you train. And I'll start to get into things that people may or may not want to go that deep. But ChatGPT and DeepSeek, these are large language models. And the idea of a large language model is I don't have to tell you exactly what to listen for or to say. I need to tell you the objective.
Right.
It's kind of like training an employee.
Yeah.
If I got to tell you exactly what to do, I probably hired the wrong guy.
Got it.
Right?
Got it.
If I want to tell you what I want as the outcome,
yes,
and what the threats and risks are along the way, I'm hoping that I hired the right guy who's smart enough and has the skills to be able to do something with that information.
Yeah.
It's that level.
That's so interesting you say that, because in my mind I'm flashing back to like years ago with Tony Robbins, where he says a lot of people keep a to-do list, a bullet point list of do this, do this, do this. He says no. The way to simplify and to organize that is these 3 things are spend more time with my wife. These 5 things are spend more time doing looking for this outcome at work. Right. So it's more about the outcome then.
Yep. Yeah. There's you can make references of Joe Dispenza, and there's 50 other people who talk about these same things in different ways. Yeah. I forget. I think it was Tom Billio. He says, don't confuse the finger with the moon. Right. When you're thinking about your objective objective is where you want to be. You might change how you're going to get there 3, 4, 5 times along the way. Yeah. Right.
That's right. Okay, so we're talking with Ken Monro, the Ease Association. He's on Facebook.com. He's got his multiple websites as well, KenMonroeX.com as well, founder of the company. And we have a mutual friend, too, Don Hill, and Don puts on these great events. The top 500 realtors in Tampa Bay are invited. I spoke on a panel a couple of months ago, having your best year, something along those lines. Lindsay's actually speaking on the one this month, coming up in a couple of weeks, actually. She's speaking on new construction, how to crush it in new construction. And you're helping him out also with his organization, I believe.
And vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, so cool.
Don's been a great, I would say resource, but that's cheating him of status. He's a great partner.
Yeah.
You guys have a great relationship, and that has lent to our relationship, right?
Right.
So what's really interesting is when we first started working together, it was around the idea of serving real estate professionals like yourself. Right. And we do that. And we have a program, the New World Realtor program, that's specifically designed to help them do what they do better, faster, cheaper, and so on. What we're finding along the way is all of the home services companies, all of the solopreneurs that do individual services, whether it's domestic services, whether it's professional services, whether it's home services, these are the guys that we're finding are benefiting the most from our engagement. Because one of the things you mentioned, fielding calls while you're on a roof.
Yeah.
Right? Most of these professionals are working in their business while trying to work on it.
Yep.
And that's an opportunity for us to really help them cross that chasm.
Right.
And let systems work on the business while they're working in the business, and setting themselves up to remove themselves from the inner workings and hire in staff and do things to more work strategically on what their growth, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of times technology can do things that you don't even know it does, and you can't even really put it together. I remember the first time I heard about a dialer. I'm like, what do you mean dialer? How does that work? I would take the number and type it into my phone, and I would dial. What do you mean? But no, you connect it to the internet. That's connecting to that program. That program will literally dial those numbers for you. This was going back a number of years. But to take that leap in your mind is like, wow, I didn't realize that was even a thing.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the things we do, we engage people every day, all day, right? And what we often don't think about is, how am I capturing a way to reconnect with that person, right? So when we do ads or posts on social media, we can outward project and communicate things to them. They might act on it, and we feel like that's successful, and it is. But what did we do to be able to get their follow-up information, and what kind of things do we know that they want to hear from us, which we can capture in that first. And if we do that, then we've shortened the cycle to get back to them another time.
Yes.
Right? We never want to continue to rely on the first channel we reach them through as the only means of connectivity at a later date, right? We want them part of our ecosystem. And so setting things up so that is true is the first step in the battle.
Absolutely. No, that's a great point. Let's take a quick break. We'll leave it there. More with Ken Monro coming up. The Ease Association, helping business owners streamline, helping companies just shorten, gain time back. We started the whole conversation talking about time, and that's exactly what he can do for you. Bryan Stern coming up as well. Bull rescue operation, rescuing Americans overseas, rescuing Americans from storms. Our very own Mike Murphy Auto Group. He rescued his wife during one of the last hurricanes. Awesome interview coming up. Also, Joe Magro, that is, Tarpon Solar coming up. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right to the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here. Did you know that we buy houses cash? We will close quickly and give you a fair offer on your home or residential properties, even commercial properties, and we will give you a fair cash offer, close quickly, and be diligent when you're shopping these types of scenarios, because a lot of the wholesalers, the flippers out there, they will sign you up on an as-is contract, and they will shop that contract and try to find a buyer, but they may not find the buyer, and they won't close. So this is Brandon Rhymes, 813-917-1894, consumerqb.com. Brandon Rhymes, we buy houses cash and fast. Attention business owners, did you know we have 100% financing options available? Our no money down program offers 100% financing for business owners. If you are currently leasing your commercial space, you can purchase real estate for no money down. Additionally, the program offers money for working capital, equipment, and business fixtures. You can even pay off current business debt. Reach out at 813-917-1894. That is my direct cell. You can call or text 813-917-1894. BRimes at kw.com. And that is our 100% financing, no money down program for business owners. We would love to help you buying, selling, or investing in real estate. 813-917-1894. BRimes at kw.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. We're powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. My wife Lindsay and I own a top 100 ranked team helping sellers win in any marketplace. Quick shout out to our friend Lee over at Lee's Royal Services. He does a great job cleaning our real estate properties. Lee'sRoyalServices.com, residential, commercial cleaning. Lee'sRoyalServices.com. Check them out online. Lee'sRoyalServices.com. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Now, that's the interior. On the exterior of the home, we got you covered as well. This is a pressure washing company, Heights Soft Wash, right here in Tampa Bay. Longtime friend of the show, Ramin Kazami, HeightsSoftWash.com. Residential, commercial pressure washing, HeightsSoftWash.com. Let them know real estate quarterback sent you. All right, we're talking with Ken Monro here in studio. Coming up in just a moment. A couple of hot listings here prior to. We got a listing at 8107 Sierra Manor Lane. One of my favorite listings here. This one is a beautiful property, waterfront, 4-bedroom, 4-bath, 3-car garage, 2-story home, 3,600 square foot, 1.17 acres of land. You have a 65-year transferable warranty on your brand new metal roof, 130 feet of private water frontage, 6,000-pound boat lift, private dock, and, of course, a beautiful pool and spa package. Bring your boat, bring your jet skis, enjoy that Florida lifestyle to the fullest right here in Tampa Bay. You can take your boat out and go fishing. There's a plethora of, and that upper Tampa Bay, I've fished that area. A lot of redfish, a lot of snook, some snapper in there as well. And you can also, if that's not your boat to ride on, if that's not floating your boat, as they say, bring your boat over to dinner. Go to Bahama Breeze. Go to the Hyatt. Go to Whiskey Joe's, all those cool restaurants there. 8107 Sierra Manor Lane in Tampa. All right, we got another listing here at 4233 Oakfield Avenue. Oakfield Avenue is another one of our listings. This one is a property in Holiday, which is Pasco County, 311, 1,121 square feet, fully remodeled in 2024. So you got roof, HVAC, water heater, mostly renovated there. 4 233 Oakfield Avenue, Holiday, Florida. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, Ken, let's bring it home for everybody. When you think about technology, it's a lot of confusion out there. We're getting bombarded every day for text messages, emails. Hey, you got to try this. You got to do that. What do we need to know?
I think the first thing to know is that great technology doesn't feel like technology. Right? The result of it is that you don't have to learn all this different stuff and do all these different things, and so one of our primary missions with our solutions partner program is we research and evaluate all these platforms. But one of the key parameters we're looking for is you're a small business. You can't have something that makes you sign up for 3 years or put a big down payment or have a staff to get trained. Right. It's got to be simple. It's got to be easy to get in and out of.
Yes.
Right? It's got to deliver an immediate impact, right? And so once we qualify those things for that, that's what tells us it's a good technology for small business. You're a big business, you're a large corporation, it might be a different solution. But for small business, we can't turn our members into technologists. We got to make it easier for them.
Right.
And that's part of it.
Yeah, easy to implement. The Ease Association. Ken Monro in studio with us. Reach out to the hotline if you'd like to be put in contact. 813-917-1894. You can call or text that line. It's an off-air number. 813-917-1894. Call or text. And then Ken Monro, you have a intake that you might do, a questionnaire type series.
Yeah, so we have a member survey form, and it basically, and it's a good exercise whether you're doing it for me or us or just on your own, but it goes through everything that you're currently doing, what's working, what's not. What have you thought of that you see others, what they're doing that you might want to try? What have you tried that didn't work and you never want to touch again?
Yeah.
And as you go through that, you're kind of qualifying where you're at right now compared to where you want to be. And then closing that gap and seeing, okay, well, you're using these different platforms. These can go away if you do these things and get more productivity in the process, right? And so oftentimes you end up doing more and spending less than where you started.
Right.
And people walk into it thinking, well, I don't know if I've got the budget to do all these different things. My friend, you might end up spending half of what you're spending right now and getting a lot more done. Right. So let's do that first upfront analysis.
Yes.
I don't know if I can help.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out at the end of that process. And then we'll start to look at, well, it looks like here's some things you could do to, start that path.
Right. Recent success story?
I mean, there's a bunch of them, actually. I just came from Key West Seafood Company.
Okay.
And, it's not like the typical residential real estate or the home services. They've got amazing products that, and they get fresh catch stuff all the time. The people who work there and own the business go out and fish.
Nice.
And so, how do we let people know we had a great catch today of, swordfish or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And so we're setting up systems that makes the connection with them and their customer base immediate and transparent, right? So do you want to know when, blue crab is, ready and we've got a special on it? Great, you're going to get a text right on the spot, right? Do you want to join the Fishscription, where you can every Friday get some different type of a catch with all the seasonings and a recipe, and it's you don't have to think.
That's cool,
right? So those are the kind of things, and they're going to benefit greatly because they weren't even able to answer the phone before.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you said, the roofer's on the roof, the fisherman's out fishing. They're working in the business, not on the business, and that's where you've had this situation where business owners have felt that for years, and now you've got the solutions, you've got the technologies, and it's easier to implement than most people think.
So we've got a solopreneur package now. It gives you a website, it gives you a promotional platform, AVA, AI virtual assistant, that'll answer your calls, funnel them to the right place, book appointments, send sales links out, the whole shot.
Yeah.
And they're starting at $99 a month.
That's awesome. Reach out to the show. We'll put you in touch with Ken Monro, the Ease Association. Ken, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Love being here.
And we'll have him back on again next month. So good stuff coming up. Also, Bryan Stern, bull rescue, gray bull rescue operation coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to take you inside to some of his overseas missions, some really cool stuff. He was also the keynote speaker at Will Smith and Erica Smith's gala that they just had. Really awesome gala coming up here next on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here in studio. We got Bryan Stern joining us. Gray Bull Rescue in the house. We're going to talk with him. Some interesting stories. Get ready for this one. This is going to be interesting. He's got jailbreaks he's talking about. Afghanistan. He was actually there, boots on the ground, pulling people out, saving American lives. We're going to talk with him. Also coming up, we got Joe Magro joining us, Tarpon Solar. We're going to talk about solar technologies, how you can save money, take advantage of some of the tax incentives as well, coming up on the program. Before we do, a couple of hot listings here. 455 US Alt 19. Number 151. This one's in beautiful Palm Harbor, Florida. We got an entry-level, kind of an affordable property here. It's a 2-2 ground floor condo, 900-square-foot condo over at Harbor Club. You've got some great amenities there as well. 2 sparkling pools, tennis and basketball courts, hot tubs as well. 2-2 ground floor condo, 900 square feet, 455 Alt 19 in Palm Harbor. Great opportunity to buy real estate here in Tampa Bay. All right, 1905 Masters Way, another beautiful listing, single-family home, split floor plan. This one's in East Hillsborough County. This one is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-car garage, 29 square foot single-family home, 0.38 acre lot, no backyard neighbors, Florida room, expansive windows, and you have some great community features like walking trails, dog park, playground, sports complex, and access to the lake for non-motorized vehicles. Buying, selling, investing, refinancing, we would love to talk to you. And we greatly appreciate your support. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, great lead-in song for Bryan Stern. Gray Bull, welcome in, sir.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Awesome speech the other day at the Will Smith Aviation Gala. That was awesome, and some of the stories were just amazing. I want to get right into it and share it with our audience.
Sure. It at Will's at the gala, I always write my notes, and then what usually happens is I'm having too much of a good time, and I throw the notes away, just kind of do my thing, and it always works out a little better. I think.
A little impromptu.
Yeah.
I always try to do that too. I have bullet points, and then you'll get a couple in, and you're like, you don't need the bullet points anymore. You get a flow going.
Yeah, and then afterwards, I'm always like, I forgot to say forgot to plug the website. The one thing, my one job that I had to do. Everyone's clapping and cheering, USA, and I'm like, I forgot the one thing I was supposed to do.
The one thing your assistant told you or something, right? It's like, I was up there with a purpose, but it was too much fun, right? So let's start with the Afghanistan pull out. Sleepy Joe slept at the wheel and left a lot of Americans behind. So your company actually was contracted to go in there, or how did that play out?
No, we're not contractors. So Gray Bull Rescue, our website is graybullrescue.org. I've done my job for the day.
There you go.
There it is. The best way to think about us is we're a rescue element. We're a rescue team. We do rescues and evacuations, and they're different. We'll talk about that in a second. We rescue Americans and our allies and friends from places where the government can't get, for whatever the reasons are. I don't really care why.
Right.
I care that your passport looks like my passport, and if you're calling me, it means that you've called everybody else already, and they've all told you no.
Right.
My team are volunteers. I'm a volunteer myself. We're not paid. There's no such thing as a Gray Bull Rescue invoice, so we are not contractors.
Okay.
In fact, we haven't even gotten a thank you note from the government, let alone $1.
Wow. What about some of the people?
We got lots of those, yeah.
Okay,
so we've done 728 missions since we started, my team and I. That turns into 7,126 people.
Wow.
Lives saved.
That's awesome.
If you say that everyone's got a mother, a father, a dog, and a cat, a brother and a sister, our impact has been in the hundreds of thousands.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You saw DeSantis on TV when DeSantis did Air DeSantis from Israel?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's a fat guy who looks just like me in a Mets hat coming off the plane. That was actually us.
Okay.
Governor DeSantis was kind enough to fund the operation. We were already there. We blew out right after October 7th, got boots on ground, and started doing our thing. We're donor funded. We're a charity.
Yep.
We were out of money. We had $290 293 Americans stuck with Iron Dome cooking off and missiles and everything else. This is days after October 7th. No one knew what else was coming, right? And that's very much a textbook or typical operation that we do.
Yeah.
All the way from large-scale evacuations, 293, that's the largest in American history, all the way to breaking people out of jail from Russian intelligence, and we've done that too.
That's the one I wanted to get to, because we said that a little bit pre-show. It just sounds, you're going into Russia. You're breaking Americans out of jail. I mean, that to me, it's like a movie, right?
Well, the catch is this: is that I don't have $6 billion to give. I can't lift a sanction. In the world of leverage, I don't have any. Right? We're a nonprofit on a shoestring budget. Our entire operating budget is like a rounding error for lug nut grease in the motor pool at McDill. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we got to do things a little. It's not very tactical. It's more like a magic trick than anything else. I spent
guerrilla warfare.
Kinda, yeah. I spent 27 years in the intelligence community, bouncing between the dark side of intelligence and the dark side of special operations. So when we do a lot of these operations, it's 2 men. 3 men, 4 men, and that's it. So it's not, when you think of a rescue, you think of little birds and Blackhawks and ninjas and strobe lights and suppressed rifles and night vision and all this other stuff.
Sure.
We don't do any of that.
Okay.
We don't do any of that. But when we do these operations are places where those guys can't get or can't get authority to go. Either way.
It's got to be off the books, in a sense.
We're not going to send a SEAL team into Russia to break somebody out of jail. We're just not going to do that.
Yeah.
That's a great way to start World War III. In Afghanistan, it was the same thing. During the withdrawal, we knew that's where we started. We saw things were going poorly. I had people calling me, asking me for help. I'm an Afghan vet. Spent a lot of time there. Buried a lot of friends there.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm an intel guy. I'm not a SEAL. I'm an intel guy. My last gunfight I was in, last time I got shot at in Afghanistan, it was actually NATO shooting at me.
Wow.
I'm alive today because of the Afghans. So they called out, they were calling, asking for help. Governor Atta, who's a big warlord in the north, he and I have a very good relationship 20 years later.
Yep.
And we went. And that's a big differentiator between us and all these other groups that are out there doing really good work.
Yeah.
I'm not picking on anybody. Lots of groups are doing things like this, but we're different because we're on the ground. I have a Taliban visa in my passport today, right now. We still go back. We're still pulling people out. What was remarkable about Afghanistan is not just the Afghans. We left Americans behind.
Yeah.
And that's a no-no for me.
Yeah,
that's
terrible.
That's a big no-no. Right?
Absolutely ridiculous.
Friends and allies are one thing, but if your passport looks like my passport, we come. And someone will come, and if the government won't, that's okay, no problem. They can't. Policy stuff, political stuff, access, all kinds of reasons. I mean, simply, logistics issues, perception issues, Facebook issues, Instagram issues, election issues, whatever. I could care less.
Right.
None of those are in my world.
They're all excuses in a sense when you think about it. It's like, look, Americans are stuck here because of the bad policies or whatever it might be. So graybullrescue.org, Bryan Stern in studio with me. I'm your host, Brandon BRimes, and I wanted to get to, kind of current stuff right now, because Trump's talking about Greenland. He's talking about the Panama Canal, and it's strategic. I mean, what it is, it's all roads lead to China. I got a clip on that I wanted to play just to get a little piece of that going.
All roads lead to China. All of this is about countering China, and let me give you a rundown of what I'm talking about. Pressure placed on taking back the Panama Canal, or at least not having Chinese companies run the Panama Canal. That's about China. Greenland is about Chinese encroachment into the Arctic. Ukraine mineral deal is about Chinese dominance in minerals around the world. Tariffs, et cetera, on Mexico and Canada. All this is about that they've allowed their countries to get overrun with Chinese fentanyl, and they've allowed Chinese police stations, other things like that, at various points.
So for time's sake, I'll cut that off, but that was Breitbart, I think, talking about it. But your thoughts in general about that?
Yeah, I think that's right. There's a great book called Unrestricted Warfare that I tell everybody to read. It's a really easy read. It's on Amazon. It's real thin. You can read it in a day if you read fast. And when you read, it was written by a couple of Chinese guys, and it's like a roadmap on how to take down America.
Right.
Yep. And it was written in the 60s or the 70s. Yep. And in there is everything that we see today. Gender stuff, disenfranchisement with the government, disenfranchise of the family unit, narcotics. It's all in there. So China.
Paying off politicians.
Well, just all of it, right? There's a difference between China and the Chinese Communist Party.
Right.
There's a different elements. The Chinese Communist Party is vile and terrible and horrible.
Yep.
Chinese people generally are what they are. I've been to 78 countries. Everyone's kind of the same, but we're all different, right?
Yep.
But make no mistake, they're in it to win it, and we're not. We're not. We're just not. We're out to lunch.
We're getting better. But are they the biggest threat right now, China or Russia?
So strategically, China is the game, right? Mm-hmm. But make no mistake, Russia would gut every single one of us like fish and not get any on their shoes if they had their choice.
Right.
So, which is a bigger problem long term, today and tomorrow and next week? China. That's the answer. Right. Iran's about to go nuclear capable.
Wow.
So.
Thanks to Biden and Obama,
and thanks to a lot. Thanks to 40 years of all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
all kinds of stuff. Right. So, one dumb decision after the next.
Yeah.
With buildings of people who think that they know but they don't. One of the big
your typical John Kerry type.
Well, I always tell we're on these streets, right? We've done operations in Iran. Right, we're one of the few groups that have ever done ops in Iran, ever. When you're on these streets, your perspective is different.
Yeah.
It just is. You just know things,
yeah.
Right? So, even in the intel community, there's a lot of boogeymen. We think things that are not true, and we're afraid of things that we shouldn't be afraid of. China's the same way. They got just as many problems as we do. Make no mistake. They're a little smarter how they talk about it.
Right.
Because they're a closed society. We're an open society, which is one of the great things about being an American.
That's right.
But make no mistake, they got screwed up bureaucracy too.
Yeah.
They've got,
sure.
The Chinese VA is just as screwed up as our VA, if they have one, right?
Does the VA treat our veterans right?
No.
Generally speaking?
No. Forever. I mean, that's, I think, what President Trump is really trying to do. What President Trump is trying to do is bridge the gap between private sector thinking and the government.
Yeah.
And they're very different, right? And in the private sector, you can have a problem with your company, declare bankruptcy, start over. You have to, right?
Yep.
You can rebrand, right?
Yep.
Your radio show wants to become country western tomorrow, and okay, I guess we're not going to do this stuff. We'll go do that now.
Right.
You can rebrand, change the logo, and move on.
Sure.
Government doesn't work that way.
Right.
So that's the problem. If there is a problem, is that.
Yeah.
But the ideas that he's bringing forward with things like the VA, right? He's about to fire 70,000 VA employees, and a lot of people are very up in arms about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I submit to you, I bet you could fire 170,000 VA employees, and nobody would notice.
Right.
That means
it's not efficient.
It's not efficient.
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
Everyone in America has medical insurance. Everyone goes and does their thing. Somehow,
it's terrible.
The smallest minority in the country are veterans.
Yeah.
Right? There's more African American piano players than there are vets in the world. Right?
Yeah.
And somehow, the veteran community, I've been fighting with the VA for 6 years.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Right? I got a Purple Heart. Got all the things. Done all the things. I got a chest full of medals. Been there, done that. Lots of pictures, lots of this, lots of paperwork and everything else. And I personally am fighting. Meanwhile, I know guys that go in one time and everything's okay. And God bless them.
Wow.
But there's this broken, even at the DMV, you show up and you wait online. At the end, you still get your driver's license.
Right.
Even at the DMV, right? So.
Unfortunately, we're short on time.
Sure.
I want to get you back on maybe next month and reschedule as well, but definitely more to talk about. How do you want people to connect with you?
GrableRescue.org. We are entirely donor funded. Hurricane season's coming. We do hurricanes here in Tampa and other places. We need help. If you have a business and you want to be famous, reach out to us. I will say thank you is over everything I can do. GrableRescue.org is our website. We always need in-kind donations. If you have a business, I promise you have something that I need. I promise.
There you go.
But we need public support. We need a bed. Helicopters do not fly themselves. We are busier today than we have ever been.
Yeah.
There are more Americans in captivity today than we've had in the last 45 years.
Terrible.
President Trump is working on that, but it is hard stuff.
Yeah.
It's hard stuff.
Well, keep up the good work out there. Thanks for your service, and our thoughts and prayers are with you and your team. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
My pleasure. All right, taking a quick break. Coming up, we're going to talk solar here, solar technologies. We got Joe Magro in the house coming up. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1890. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here in studio. We're going to talk solar now. I love solar technologies. I tell you, solar is it's a force to be reckoned with, I think, still in the state of Florida. So we have one of the best experts in town, Joe Magro. Welcome in, sir.
Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. My pleasure, man. So give us a little background on yourself and your solar business.
Sure. Thanks so much. I've got about 8 years of solar experience in the state of Florida, from the install side to consulting on new projects, residential, commercial, all different roof types, tile, shingle, metal, flat, ground mounts. We've done it all, and we've learned a ton over the great growth that's gone on in this state for solar. 8 years ago, almost no one had solar. People thought solar was for heating their pool water, right?
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Pool solar.
Yeah.
And now people see the glass on the roof, and they say, what are my neighbors doing? What's going on? And it's really exploded and expanded.
Right. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I've got panels on my home, which you've actually visited and helped me trying to get it back online and all that good stuff. But tell us about, what do the consumers need to know in this solar space? Because there's a lot of misnomers out there.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot. When you ever have a growing and exploding industry, there's a lot of a range of things that are happening, right? Yeah. There's people who are untrained or learning in the industry. There's people who don't understand what they're getting into. So it's important with something like this that you ask a lot of questions and that you listen to programs like this and do your research. One of the big consumer tips I'd say with solar is you want to pair solar with your roof life, right? Solar is a product that goes on your house to produce power for your home so that you can be less reliant on the utility company. If you pair it with a battery, or some people do it just because they want to save money, because the utilities raise their prices every year, and if you lock in a price with a solar program, it'll be flat for 25 years.
Yeah.
So people are doing this to save money. Most people are. Some are doing it for resiliency. But the key thing they have to do is make sure they pair a 25-year product warranty on the solar with their roof life. So it's a great thing to look at if you've just put a new roof in. It's a perfect time to look at solar.
Right.
And if your roof is getting towards the end, it's another good reason, because solar can help subsidize the cost of your roof. But if you're in the middle of your roof life, you got to be careful, because if you just put it on, you might find yourself having to take it off in 7 years and pay to take it off and pay to put it back up.
Wow.
So it's a good time to get an expert consultation on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had closings where it's been, hey, there was an issue with the solar or whatever it was, and then we got a great show partner, Logan Briggs, Gulf Shield Roofing, and he was able to go in there and kind of help. And I remember the specifics, but it was patch this, or there was an issue there. And but yeah, when you see that, so solar technology, because the one thing that we know, Joe, is that the power companies are going to almost without a doubt every year increase their cost. Right, it's just a natural part of their business, especially when you have storms, because they're coming in with all these trucks, rolling trucks, putting out. I think one of the power companies I saw on the news, they're raising money again, but we know that those are going to go up. So by adding solar to your home, you're able to kind of, like you said, lock in some of that cost. That's right, and Duke just announced, because of those storms, they're adding an average $20 to everybody's bill to help pay for that. Now, it's true. The power companies raise their rates 3 to 4% on average if you look over a 10-year period, but it doesn't go like that. They might put in a 20% increase that the state approves now, and they might not do an increase for a number of years. But if you look at states like California, where they're paying almost double what we pay for power, everybody there has solar. Wow. Almost everyone. Yeah. So if you don't have solar, you can't afford the electric bill unless you're rich. Right. So as our rates have gone up, especially Duke Power has gone up extremely high, solar becomes even more viable for a homeowner and a business to lock in their rates. And then when they make a payment towards solar, most people finance solar because solar costs like the cost of a car. Right. So most people finance it just like most people finance their car. You don't have to, but it's an affordable way to do it. Yep. And what they do is they're taking the money that they would pay the power company, let's say $200 a month, and instead they put, let's say, $180 towards their payment on their solar power. Yep. So they save money, but they lock that $180 in. Yeah.
So their neighbors who don't go solar next year, 5 years from now, might be paying $250 a year, and they're still this homeowner's paying $180.
Yeah.
And that's where they get their savings over time. And also that money going in, if they're buying the solar on a loan or if they pay cash, they're getting equity in their home.
Yeah.
If they go to sell their home, they now have something that's of more value for the next homeowner because their Duke bill is going to be maybe $32 only.
Yeah.
So that is a value. When I sold my house in Palm Harbor, I had solar. I showed that to the new people coming in.
Yeah.
And I showed them my bills before, $350, $400 a month, and the new bill over and over was $32.
Wow.
So they didn't have to worry about a power bill.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
I love that. You talk about a success story. That's a success story.
Fantastic.
So yeah, as a real estate agent, I love that. I can sell that, and I think the education part of that for realtors sometimes is lacking. They need to be educated a little bit, right?
That's right. Yeah, for sure. So a lot of the real estate community is still trying to catch up. Now there's many who know it well now because it's been about 5 years since solar has been more mainstream in Florida.
Right.
But if you turn back the clock, there's a lot of realtors who really had no idea.
Yeah.
And they might try to list a house the same with solar as without. And if you show, like I did, the people coming in and looking how much money they're going to save, thousands of dollars a year on their power bill, that's meaningful. And they're willing to pay more for that on their mortgage with it, right? Because they'll still get savings, but they are willing to pay more for it because it's a nice amenity. I will say this too, one other consumer tip that's important is with the market has a lot of new players in it. It's important to get an expert opinion. And so that's one thing that our company offers as a service, and we'll offer it to all the listeners, which is that if you're considering solar, you have a proposal in front of you, call us. We'll give you a second opinion.
There you go.
If you've got something that's great, we'll let you know it's great, and you should move forward. If it's not, though, we'll show you something that is great.
Yeah. Reach out to the hotline, 813-917-1894. Call or text the show hotline. We'd love to help you, put you in touch with Joe Magro and all of his team and all his knowledge that he's accumulated in the solar space. 813-917-1894. Joe Magro in studio with us. Tarpon Solar it is. TarponSLR.com is his website. And Joe, final thought. We're going to get you on again next week to go into a little bit more detail on this, but final thought.
Well, thanks for having me. I will say this, their last segment was really powerful.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, I'm still thinking about that.
I know,
so,
right?
I went into solar to help people, and before solar, I was a biotech and med tech executive. So I started working in the medical industry field. I'm an engineer by training. But solar's great for people, and that's why I went into it. Yeah, absolutely. What a great technology. Reach out locally here. We want you working with Joe and his team, Tarpon Solar. All of our expert contributors are absolute the best. We vetted them. They're awesome people, and we want you to support the local economy. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Hey, another great show. We had Ken Monro, our tech expert, Bryan Stern as well. Gray Bull Rescue on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. We'll see you next time. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rhymes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.